Full-time reaction to Celtic 4, Dundee United 2 here at Celtic Park. I've got Martin and Darren with me to go over what was a dramatic 90 minutes in the end. Martin, a massive win for us, given that Dundee United equalised late on. Would you make of that one today?
To start with the end, so Dundee United's goal I thought was coming. I thought Taylor had a brilliant header off the line. I don't remember watching that, but it just looked like it was in and easier to score than to miss, but what a brilliant header at the same time. And then they get the equaliser and you think, oh, don't tell me. And you're starting to figure out the points difference, you know, because I mean, we went in this game knowing if we won we go 7 points ahead, and then you're thinking, what does that actually mean now, eh? I mean, we'll be properly ahead if they win tomorrow. But what a finish, what a finish. I mean, the corner, I wonder what was going on with the corner with the different corner takers. So just get on with it, but they played a tactical corner, and actually it was 2 corners, wasn't it, before the goal went in. And then the pass for the fourth goal by Hatate and the finish was just, you've seen the reaction of the players, eh? I mean, they went wild, didn't they? With the top off and in amongst the players. So overall, not necessarily a dream performance, a dream game, but what a finish, you know. And the fans will all go home happy tonight.
Darren, you knew that on the first league game VAR at Celtic Park, it was going to be involved. 10 minutes in, we take the lead, and then a couple of minutes later, we've got a penalty against us. I could see from where I was sitting that it hit Bernabei's hand, but it was impossible to tell in real time. It was a penalty. It didn't look like he knew anything about it. And the thing for me about the handball rule is, does anybody really know what the handball rule is now? It seems really unclear to me.
It's hard, mate, because by the way it's going now, there's going to be 2 or 3 penalties every single game. That's, 5 penalties in the space of 2 weeks for us. 2 against Hearts, 2 against Madrid, and won the day. And it's just not going really in our favour so far. Yes, it's there to help the referees, but as you said, what is the handball rule? I've not seen it back, I've only seen it in real time. It's not a blatant handball. Yes, it's hit his hand. Is it going in the back of the net? No. So is it a stonewall penalty? And then again, you ask for consistency with it as well. So if the referee's sent to his monitor for a controversial decision, 2 minutes later, a potential red card goes to VAR for a high foot on Giacomakis. The referee doesn't get sent to his monitor.
They still take 3 minutes to look at it though, and then don't send him to the monitor. So there must have been something in it.
Yeah, so it's just typical. Nick Walsh was in the VAR room, so I don't know what's happening. Yes, teething problems. I understand it's going to take a bit of time, but to me, it's not the problem's not the technology. To me, the problem is the referees. Maybe they need more training. Maybe they were rushed into this. I don't know, and I hate talking about it because with a game like that, you just want to talk about the football, but it has to be spoke about, unfortunately.
Aye, absolutely, Martin. The thing I know that down south, at early points in the season, they were talking about how long the ball spends in play. There was some games where it was below 55 minutes. And you look at that game in the first half today, I know there's 5 minutes added before half time, but when the goalkeeper takes 30 seconds for a goal kick, the full-backs are fixing their socks at throw-ins, there's 2 or 3 players down for injuries, and then you add in 2 and 3 minute pauses for VAR. Like, I think football's heading towards rule changes to try and shorten the stoppages, because it's going to get to the point where you're spending 45 minutes with the ball in play.
Aye, I don't know where to start on some of that stuff because it's so topical, but so Dundee United scored the goal and half their team's down tying their shoelaces as they're celebrating, you know, just to try and waste time, and the VAR thing. So I think the 2 penalties during the week have come under a lot of criticism, and rightly so. You know, I thought they were bizarre decisions. I mean, I'm no expert in the rule, but I do wonder whether it shouldn't be just as simple as it hit your hand. It should be have you gained an advantage? Because you know, one of the shots during the week, for example, it was hitting the corner flag, wasn't it? There was no advantage gained. So as I say, I probably need to read the rules to fully understand them, but I don't believe that that's part of it, and I think that should be part of it. I thought that one of the really interesting things today was Abada scores a goal. He celebrates, he takes his top off. I mean, he knows you're not allowed to, right? But he did, right? And wild celebration. He gets a yellow card, and then it goes to VAR. You think that goal gets ruled out? His yellow card still stands, doesn't it? You know, it's potentially suspended. You know, whenever, right? He doesn't get a lot of yellow cards, so probably no time soon. But just stuff like that, you think, wow, it's
a head scratcher.
Aye, what's going on? And as you said, Darren, is it 5 penalties? I mean, the one against Hearts that we didn't get last week. So there have been 6 penalty incidents, 5 against us and 1 that we didn't get.
Consistency.
There's no consistency in that. And I get sometimes there's slightly different circumstances, but the Hearts one's very, very similar to a couple that have been given against us. So it's early doors. I don't want to be too critical about VAR. I mean, it should hopefully get the 50-50 decisions confirmed and rubber stamped. But to your point, Paul, if it's going to be less game time, we're going to be getting home a little bit later, and it takes a little bit of enjoyment out of the game.
Yeah, I think it takes away from Ange's style as well, because we know he wants the ball in play as much as possible. Darren, today Haksabanovic started, Jota and Giacomakis completed the front 3. I think Haksabanovic has impressed us all. in some way since he came into the team, but he's just been lacking that end product, maybe lacking some goals, but he got 2 today, and that should do his confidence world a good going forward.
Yeah, definitely first 2 goals on the books, and I can only see him kind of getting a bit of confidence for this. He has been playing well, but as you just said there, he's kind of needed that goal or a few assists to really rubber stamp his position. And yeah, see that front three starting the day. That's the front three that I wanted to start the game. And it was a bit sluggish. I was actually quite surprised. I thought we would have really coasted the day because it's a fresh front three compared to the front three that started midweek. There's always that question that if you go with the same kind of attack, that they can be a bit fatigued and it can be a slow game. It was a slow game, but I mean, these things kind of happened. Dundee United obviously sat back for most of the game, and it was really difficult to carve out opportunities, even especially the end product was really poor the day, Paul. I thought obviously Dundee United having 10 players in their box, that doesn't help, but I thought that was kind of one of the reasons why we didn't put the game to bed, because we did have a spell second half where we kind of dominated. The ball was just 30 yards from Dundee United's goal. It was not going anywhere, but I think they're just that final ball was just lacking. Well, maybe a wee bit too slow, taking a few extra passes, a bit hesitant with crosses. So that's maybe some things we can kind of work on going forward.
Aye, absolutely. As Dan says there, Martin, it's a catch-22 in it, because if you play the same team that starts against Madrid, or the same front three, or the same attacking players, and you have a flat performance, you say, well, they're tired for during the week. But if you make too many changes, you say, oh, we're flat because you made too many changes.
Aye.
So it's difficult, I imagine, for the manager to balance, but there's no doubting that, particularly in the second half at times today, we were really flat.
Well, we've questioned on this channel, particularly last year, we said we definitely didn't have strength and depth, and to make any changes, unforced changes, was really, you were noticing the difference. And this year, he did it just before the St Mirren game, and it was working okay, but it was 2 or 3 changes. Then the St Mirren game made unforced changes, a number of them, maybe 5 or 6, and it worked against us that day. We thought, wait a minute, we're not a strong enough team to be able to make those number of changes. And I probably thought that after that he'd be a little bit more cautious and careful, but actually he's been more gung-ho. He's made more changes. Today I think there was 7 changes from the team that played during the week. I mean, that's radical, isn't it?
Fixtures have been a bit hectic though, weren't they? A lot of fixtures.
Yeah.
Aye, they have. I mean, that 2 a week. But there have been some quite tough fixtures that he's made those changes, and I know you wouldn't class today against a United team who's down the bottom end of the table as necessarily a tough fixture. You can't take any of them for granted. We know that from last year. We slipped up in a couple of games at home, games that you should win easily.
Yeah.
But he's now proven that he's doing it week after week after week. He's making those changes now. What that tells us is he's confident in his squad. He's confident in the ability of the squad. And yes, at times it might be flat, and yes, at times you might not win 5-0. But we're winning time after time after time, you know. And I don't know how many consecutive wins that is in the league now, but I think we've won every game since St Mirren. So we're on a really good run despite a congested fixture list. So we've just got to get over the line now with Motherwell and Ross County, and then we finish, you know, prior to this break for the World Cup on a real high.
Yeah, absolutely. Darren, we've talked about the flatness in the second half performance. We did have a couple of chances. I think Forrest hits the bar. Matt O'Reilly's a good chance on his right foot that he just can't quite get anything behind. But you had that feeling that Dundee United were kind of growing in the game. They were trying to keep it at 2-1, because I'm talking about the goalkeeper taking 20-30 seconds in goal kicks. He was still doing that at 75 minutes at 2-1, because they just want to keep the game at 2-1 for as long as possible. And then they get the chance at the back post. I don't know if it's Sybil that heads it in at the back post, and it's 2-2. But I think we've seen over the course of last season with this Celtic team that because it was 5 minutes plus added time to play, that there was still plenty of time for us, and we showed that spirit to come back and win it.
Yep, and I think fair play to the crowd as well. The crowd really got behind the team, and when you concede in the 85th minute, we've done it against St Johnstone, you need real character, I think, to go forward. And the game it became so open. I thought it's not as if Dundee United were going for a winner. They quite the opposite. They were happy just to go right 2 each, game over. But we pushed, and we got a couple of corners, and you know I was getting annoyed because throughout the game we were playing those short corners and they weren't really amounting to anything. So I think when desperation kicked in at the end, we thought, right, let's put it in the box. And luckily, Matt O'Reilly's corner, Kyogo's on the end of it. Absolute
lovely
scenes.
wee flick for Alston.
Yep, aye. I was a bit carried away then, man. I was just jumping a bit mental. I didn't see the absolute details, but I mean, listen, that was. I remember when we beat Dundee United last time here, and it was a similar feeling. Yeah. And these are title-winning games, in my opinion. And you know, not even just getting 3-2 up, but that fourth goal as well. And they celebrated the exact same, in my opinion. 4-2, the game's killed. Abada shut off in the crowd. All players following him. That's heart. That's passion.
Aye, absolutely, and that's what wins you league titles, Martin. Massive goal for Kyogo. As I say, Alston gets the flick at the near post, and Kyogo's there to nod it in. I think it's just so encouraging to see that spirit for the team, and it's almost what we needed. We needed Dundee United to equalise to get that desperation, that bit of urgency, because I think we're lacking the full second half.
Aye, and I think it gets to a stage in the game, so you want to go out in that second half and get the third goal, don't you? I think Turnbull thought he'd scored as well, so the third goal doesn't come for whatever reason, right? Doesn't come, and United and all these teams are coming here just to keep that 1 goal margin. They're actually okay being 1 goal behind. And how often do you see it? They go and try and get that equaliser late in the game. It happens all the time, right? So United are content at 2-1. Celtic are thinking, right, it'll come, and it wasn't coming. And then it gets to that stage in the game, United start to push up in the game. They'd open up. I think they had 3-4 chances before they scored, right? Good chances. Obviously the one we've talked about off the line. But then when you get to the corners, right, so the flick on, if I remember this rightly, and I might be wrong, but we had 2 corners and both of them were played the same way for the flick on.
Yeah.
And
first one was just a poor delivery.
Aye, pure delivery. And the one where we scored, because it was a flick on, everybody ran towards the front post, and it created a ridiculous amount of space. And I remember thinking, we can't miss. The keeper was at the front post, half their team was at the front post, and there was Kyogo and several other players, and you're thinking, surely we'll just put it in. You know, you want to see if someone's going to lash it and put over the bar. But prior to that, there was also a situation where the referee gave a free kick, should have given us advantage. We had 2 or 3 players in the box.
Forrest gets to the byline.
And that was almost a guaranteed goal, right? So there you go. You know, we're in injury time. We scored 2, could have easily scored another one. And it almost felt you didn't want the referee to score because you thought we were going to score a 5th. So great character. And that's what Ange Postecoglou says all the time, you know, we never stop and we keep going and we don't put our heads down. You know, when situations like that happen today, we become more determined. And that's what they demonstrated today. It was brilliant.
Yeah, massive in the context of the season, Darren. As Martin touched on at the beginning, we could have went 5 clear today. Rangers have the chance tomorrow to close it to 2 if they win. But we have gone 7, and that adds that bit of pressure tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. Just need to keep going, to be honest. I think they're away at St Johnstone, aren't they? Yeah. So the last thing you want to give Rangers is a bit of encouragement. Right. Exactly. So 7 points again, it probably puts more pressure on them. It's a must-win game for them now. So yeah, massive win as always.
Absolutely. Fireworks at Celtic Park tonight. Like this video, comment your own thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Jump over for Twitter reaction, and then we'll see you during the week for the build-up to that game at Fir Park. Thank you.